Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the IVES BB1 4.5 in a 640 finish. That's the label. And here is the real McCoy. Here's the real deal. Here's the hinge, the 5 BB1. This is exactly what it's like when it comes. 5 BB1 is an incredibly common hinge. It hits all the standard, most common criteria for thickness and for type, meaning full mortise, for size range and availability of on the most common of door sizes. Let's talk specifically about this hinge, and then we'll get into the other related hinges. So the 5 BB1, that's going to be the hinge that you're going to use all the time on your inch and thick commercial doors, residential doors for that matter as well. But when you're dealing with inch and thick, that hinge can be 4 inch by 4 inch, or more common, certainly in commercial applications, and almost exclusively 4.5 by 4.5. And indeed, that's what this hinge is, even though this 5 BB1 is made sizes as well. So, dissecting the part number, let's back up. The 5 means knuckle. Okay? Variations on that are available. We'll talk in a moment. BB stands for ball bearing. You can see that there are 2 bearing packets there. When a standard weight hinge like this one, which is 134 thousandths, meaning the leaf thickness heavy on 1/8 of an inch, and it's not a heavyweight hinge, meaning it would be 100 thousandths in this size, you'll have 2 bearing packets versus the weight hinge would have 4 bearing packets. That's what the BB stands for. One in the part number, I'm actually not exactly sure if that has... Oh, of course it does. That means full mortise. That means you can see from the swag on the hinge leaves there that when the leaves are parallel, they're meant to be mortised flush to the door and frame. And there are variations on that all as well. Okay. Now, there are other options that can be done on such a hinge, such as electrification, such as specialty corners or security provisions, the pin or other features to the hinge. Certainly in different finishes. This is the 640. That means a couple of things. It means it's made of steel, and then it also means that it has an oil rub finish. Now, being a steel base material, it's not certainly going to be true oil rubbed bronze. It will certainly emulate oil rubbed bronze. Okay. This will include fasteners and a comp finish. Generally, what you get on hinges like this are all machine, half wood, so that you could do a steel door steel frame, or a steel frame and a wood door. If you have to have all wood screws, wood door, wood frame, specify that at the time of order by saying all wood screws, or AWS is the acronym for that. Okay. All of the common finishes are available, and you're going to use this hinge again in the most commercial instances because it's standard weight, because it's ball bearing, and of course the size. Now, the dissection of the part is helpful to get into, and we'll go through it briefly. 3 or 5. 3 knuckle. You can have either. 3 knuckle is not common, but some people will order it because they like the cleaner look of it, even though occasionally you're going to run into a lead time with a 3 knuckle hinge. BB is ball, but you can also do plain bearing, which would not have any ball bearings, or concealed bearings, which would CB. You would not see the bearing packets in there at all. A much cleaner look. And 3 knuckle, you'll want a concealed bearing most likely. Or you can order these as SP hinges. Getting to that numerical value, the 1 in this case that I got, 1 is full mortise, 2 is half mortise, 3 is full surface, and is half surface. Then there are options. HW would be common. This hinge, but thicker, 180 thousandths. Add HW to the end. And you can do this in hospital tips. You can do them in swing clear type hinges. You can order wide throw hinges. You can order these with an NRP or with a security. If it was an exterior door that swung out, you'd want one of those 2 provisions. the NRP being common. You can do it in radiused corners as well, 1/4 inch or 5/8, but you're only going to really see that when you're dealing with, obviously, when you're dealing with wood doors and wood frames or metal clad material. Sizes can be ordered in everything from 3.5 by 3.5 up to 5 by 5 when it comes in square sizes. You can do 4.5 or 5 by 4.5. You can do wide throw at either 4.5 by 5, 4.5 by 6, 5 by 6, or 5 by 7. Those in. Then all of the finishes as well. And what this hinge doesn't give us in the part number will, when you define the finish, is the base material. 6-4 is steel oil rubbed, but if you wanted oil rubbed in bronze or brass material and oil rubbed, you would change that to 613. So the finish designation to factory what base material you want, and you are to expect a significant price between anything brass versus steel based. And then again, those options: non-removable pin. Order this as through wire electrification. Through wire is what I meant. 4-wire, 8. You can order these as 4-wire or 8-wire with the monitoring capability, so that you lay back to a central panel, door closed, door open, door closed, door open sort of scenario. So knowing how to dissect the part number is handy, because you can then build your own part number for the hinge. There's a link below this video to a document called Template that will allow you to review the dimensional properties of the hinge and some sister products. Specifically aims to not only the physical size, but the location of the screw holes. If you're not sure if it's going to fit, and that's a valid question, even though this pattern is called the T pattern and has been a standard since the early 1970s, I believe, means still confirm. You don't want to order these hinges to find out that they don't fit your screw location, even though they're the width and height. So that template is there for your review. Finally, there's a link below to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the IVES products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Review all things IVES from us. I like IVES. Their name, I like them most. I'm, I guess, subconsciously incredibly familiar with the product line. Just because of years of using it. And therefore I'm partial to IVES, just out of familiarity. But they do make a good product line. Other than being incredibly notorious, well-known, a name that is universally accepted and familiar with. The one line that I would call to your attention would be their line of pivots. And when it comes to center hung or intermediate pivots, IVES has a great offering of that material for a couple of reasons. And those reasons are this. I think you get a lot of value using an IVES pivot compared to their competitors. Some, not all. Number two, I've installed pivots I've made wood doors, wood frames, and installed pivots, I think, from every manufacturer. And I can tell you firsthand that interpretation of the IVES published data is generally the easiest in terms of grasping it initially, especially when it's your first time. Other manufacturers give you with this overwhelming technical drawing. If it's your first time seeing overwhelming, the second, third, and so on, it's not a problem. But initially, the IVES material is very accessible to being able to understand how to not only install it, but to prep your door and frame for it. If you have any questions on the IVES number 5 BB1, 4.5, and a 640 oil rubbed finish, or any other IVES product, please feel free to reach out. And thank you.